Okay. Wow. Like I said, this is probably my very, very favorite holiday. Why? Because you can't mess it up, really. As long as we make that bridge between our heart and our mind. Because really, when you think about it, it's so sweet when we're in that kindness, when we're in that gratitude. Is anything ever wrong? I mean, seriously, think about this. If we're expressing gratitude, we're in love, and that we truly create that space all around us of gratitude. That's why I love the affirmation, I think to think. Because how many of us really show up, even if you have crazy families like I grew up in? I'm sure none of you do, but if you did, then one of the things that you get is that it's very interesting, even as adults. We haven't been together, the three kids, for a long, long, long time. Because every time we get together, it's the same freaking conversation. Well, do you remember when? It wasn't like that at all. And then my sister was like, well, it wasn't like that either. The middle one, of course. And then we have this whole big thing around what we saw, what we did, what we experienced. It wasn't like that around my house that I grew up in. Where'd you grow up in, Betsy? Well, I grew up in the same bedroom as you, so I'm thinking maybe we saw the same stuff. Well, it makes it absolutely perfect that we didn't, because why? We were all different ages. So we perceived it very differently. And even if we're living in love, one of the things that we know is that it's all about God, right? It's God seeing God. And truly, it is about, I thought God is great. Gratitude opens doors. Have you ever been grateful where the door was slammed in your face? Maybe. But what you saw that is absolutely what you saw that as what? An opportunity to go through a different door. Rather than somebody just slammed that door in my face. Instead, what we do is see that opportunity of being grateful that there's another door to go through. It all is in our mind and in our mindset. So when we look at this, part of what we get to do, and one of the things that I looked at was, of course, the dictionary. And it says gratitude. The quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and return kindness. Pretty simple. Synonyms: gratefulness, thankfulness, thanks, appreciation, indebtedness. So now when we say that we got a tude, we know it's all about gratitude, right? And so the idea about this, I think, as we look at it, is Dr. Holmes said there is something in this. I think I had this up here. No? Maybe I messed that one up. Okay. There is something in this attitude of thanksgiving that carries us beyond the field of doubt into one of perfect faith and acceptance, receptivity, realization. And so when we're staying in that place of gratitude, in fact, why don't you turn to somebody next to you? And if you have no one next to you, then lean over and find someone next to you. And tell them at least two things that you're grateful for right this minute. What are you grateful for right this minute? Go. Now, you notice the energy in this room right now?
No, we'll all just keep talking.
Right. I could just sit down and y'all could just keep going. Here's the thing about it, is gratitude is catchy. When do you tell gratitude to the service people that serve you in your life? I'm in LA County, so it's a little different. Even to the Department of Water and Power little guy, who always yells at me that I didn't leave the gate open, but that's because he goes through the wrong gate. The other gate is open. He doesn't know which door to go through. And so he's been the same guy forever. And then he takes his little I think it's a spyglass or like a telescope thing, and he looks at my neighbor's meter from my house. I'm like, why can't you look at my meter from his house? His gate's open. And I love what Meister Eckhart, he's one of my very favorite, and he says, if the only prayer you say in your entire life is thank you, That would suffice. Hence, the fourth step in treatment is all about gratitude. What are we grateful for? We spend so much time. How much time do you spend talking about what you don't want, what you don't like, and what isn't? Right? I mean, we do. As human beings, we do. Why? Because we know that the law of attraction only brings more of it to us. Woo! More of what I don't want. Awesome. So the idea of it is catch yourself. Every time, Reverend Patrick, by the way, Reverend Patrick, hope you're feeling better. Dina, my heart's with you, feel better as well. And my friend Uta from Pennsylvania that came here once. I'm happy that you're here too. And I'm grateful for everybody because when you think about it, no matter where we are or what we do, gratitude is free. You can't tell me that you can't afford gratitude. You got a tude, might as well make it work for you. In fact,
give me a Y, give me an E, give me an F.
I found these on Reverend Stephen's desk, so I thought I had to play with them. Some of these are like, a little bit, I just picked it up and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, we like that first one. Give me a Y. So one of the things that we look at is what Dr. Holmes says. He says that gratitude is one of the chief graces of human existence that is crowned in heaven with the consciousness of unity. Think about that. The minute we say, like I said, for a server, I always say thank you. And if I don't know their name or they told me their name and I forgot it, which is highly possible, then I'm like, wow, you are such a bright light. I am so glad that you served me today. And you know what most of them said? Really? Well, did you spit in my food? No, just kidding. Just kidding. So what is it that you are grateful for? And how much time do you spend talking about what you're grateful for? So this isn't just this week or this season or the fall or a big turkey dinner or tofurkey dinner or no dinner. Whatever it is that we do on Thursday, watch football, some people do, I know. But what is it that we do that we are constantly in that? Because we know that our vibration rises with gratitude, right? So, and some of you that are on my Facebook page know that I had a colonoscopy this week. Woo! Yeah, right. Well, sort of. I get to do it again. I flunked it. No, I got a B. I got 80%, so I get to do it again to retake my test. And thank God for Debbie, because she was sitting there. She goes, "Are you nervous?" I'm like, "No, what thought that?" And the idea, and then it was so funny because there's this little anesthesia guy, and he's walking down the corridor, and he looks around and he said, "What are we doing here?" And I said to the nurse, "Who's that guy?" The anesthesiologist. I'm like, oh, shoot. What are we? True story. Then the doctor comes in, and when I saw him in his office, I could understand every word he said. But this time, I'm not sure if I was so nervous that my hearing aids were turned off. And he's from India, and I'm listening, and Debbie's helping me listen. I have no clue what he says. I'm like, what did he just say? She said, well, you're going to be okay. With that anesthesiologist looking in my colon, I'm going to be okay. Great. And I'm grateful that I am okay and that I get to repeat the test. I'm so excited. Mm-hmm. And the idea about the whole thing is that, think about it, it's a blip on a map. And the nurse that I had, the pre-op nurse that I had, he was awesome. And we were joking, and you know me, when I get more nervous, I even get more jokey. Yeah. And I don't even exactly remember what I was saying, but he was cracking up, and he was saying something else, and I was cracking up. And it made the time go by fast. Then the guy that was in the actual, I guess, surgery treatment room, whatever it was, he was great. And he was like, he goes, "You see what this is?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "It's the scope." He goes, "Look up on the screen." I'm like, "Oh, I feel so much better now." Yeah. So, what are we grateful for, really, when it comes down to it? What are we, in our depth of our heart, really, really grateful for? Are we grateful for being able to be on this side of the ground, as my dad said, any day above ground's a good day? Or do we take those little smidgens and let us get kind of flattened and then not be grateful for what we do have? And I know that there are times for me, in my checkbook, I have a whole lot of checks, but that line on the bottom is telling me something different. And then I left it, I ran out of checks. I'm like, oh, cool. That means I have a lot of money then. So what is it that you're grateful for? I mean, just scream out some of the things that you're grateful for right this second. Health, friends, family, inhalers, especially with the wind, right? Huh? Pets, yes, our lovely Paisley. Where's Paisley? There she is. She's all clean and everything. I wish she just wasn't working. Okay. What else? Me, thank you. Thank you. Our community, or I call it common unity. Are we not a family? Every single person that I bring, every person I bring. When my friend Uta was here in town, right? She lives on the East Coast. We haven't seen each other in 30 years. I bring her. She fell in love with this place. She goes, I love it. I said, well, move out here. It's still here. Right? Okay. So the idea about it is we are a family. There's a warmth here that's not in every place. Don't take it for granted. We have something special. We have a connection, and it's a safe connection in most cases. And if not, we have practitioners that want to assist you to know the truth for you when you don't. To me, I'm grateful for that because I have a practitioner, right? And she knows the truth for me when I don't know it. And therefore, I get to know it for somebody else, and that's kind of the way it goes. That's the chain that keeps going, the law of circulation that keeps going. And so when we look at it, I love what Zig Ziglar says. He says, gratitude is the healthiest of all human emotions. The more you express gratitude for what you have, the more likely you will have even more to express gratitude for.
Yes.
So, or we could always also go, right?
That was easy.
Because gratitude is easy if we're willing to have it. It's free, and it comes, especially if you're really feeling crummy and you're feeling like, a lot of people, this is a tough season. I mean, I'm very grateful for January when all this is over. And I'm not a Scrooge even a little bit. It's just there's so much energy. I was at Costco yesterday, and I'm like, what's doing with all of this, right? It's like I had to park the farthest away, so I was like, awesome, I got some steps, I could do this. And then in there, I kept looking around at everything, thinking, what's everybody do? Not everybody had turkeys either. And I mean, seriously, you had to go like this through the baskets. If this is not a good season for Costco, just telling you. At least the one on, yeah, right. And so the idea about all of this is that one of the things that we get to do is just I just stood there in the middle of all these carts. I couldn't go anywhere. I felt like I was bumper cars. I was blocked in. And I just looked around and I just started laughing. I'm like, I'm so grateful that all these people are happy. Right? They're all having fun. And the little kids were having fun, and they were I want this and I want that, especially down the Christmas aisle. And so one of the things I know about gratitude is it's not happiness that brings us gratitude, it's gratitude that brings us happiness. How many of us keep wanting to be happy? I don't even know what that is. But what does happy mean to you? What does happy mean to you? To me, it means gratitude. To me, it means connection. As human beings, obviously, there's more than one of us in this room, so we are meant to relate and connect, right? I think Reverend Stephen calls it we are relational ships. Is that what he says? Something like that. So, what?
He says a lot of things.
Yeah, he does. And so, one of the things that as we look at this, seriously thinking about gratitude, I can't say it enough. It truly is about looking at our lives of what it is that we're great. I mean, if you have a roof over your head, are you grateful? Yes. If you have a toilet to go in, are you grateful? Yes. Oh, yes. Wait, hold on. That one deserves this one, right? Toilet?
Well, yes.
And so one of the things, how many of you are grateful when the answer is always yes? Because guess who always says yes? God always says yes. So whatever we plant into that consciousness, we get. So it's pretty simple that when I'm grateful for, during the whole fundraising this year, we did great. I'm so proud of us, actually. As a congregation, as a committee, we had a ton of energy. And what we did was, to me, for a first year of doing all these things, it was awesome, right? I think it was over 10,000, like 10,400-ish, or I don't know, somewhere in there. Either way, it's over 10,000. I'm ecstatic about that, but it was all of us. It was that energy of communing and being grateful for what we have. And yes, you could get all sucked into, oh, it's so much work. Oh, this didn't work. Oh, but you know what? Our committee never did that. We just bound together and we soared. And so one of the things is, and I love what Deepak says. I love Deepak, if you don't, right? I like the Oprah Chopra meditations. Any of you listening to those? Oh, yes. They're so good. This one's really good. But he says, gratitude opens the door to the power, the wisdom, the creativity of the universe. You open the door through what? Gratitude. I'm sorry, what? Gratitude. Oh, okay. See, this thing is over my ear. I can't hear out of this ear then. So the idea is that when do we want to open the doors? Yeah, right now. Why not? What is it that John Kennedy said? You may ask what your country can do for you, but I ask you what you can do for your country. Well, I ask you not how somebody could be grateful for you, but how could you be grateful for somebody else? Do you know how good it feels when someone says thank you? Yeah. And how many times do we just literally slough it off? Because I don't get it. I do it too. Somebody's like, oh, I'm so grateful that you XYZ'd. And I'm like, really? That was such a no big deal. No brainer. I just flipped them off. And then I have to go back and say, oh, wow, thank you so much. I know. And I make myself say, thank you, I know. People are like, well, that's pretty arrogant. That's all, up in there. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, maybe it is. But the truth is, I do know what I do contribute. And it's not doing it from a snotty place. It's doing from an authentic, heartfelt place. Do you not know when you do something great for someone? Yes. Only one person? 2 people. Okay, we're getting there. Yeah. But we know when we reach out to somebody and make their day better, do we not? Yes. And sometimes it's a simple smile. Sometimes it's stopping and talking with the person that's homeless on the street. I've had some of my best conversations, I'm telling you. So much fun. And when we get done, I feel like I have a new friend on the planet. It's awesome. And yet so many people, what do? Right? They walk totally around them because they make them nervous. They're a human being. They're not going to ever, huh? That's my son. That's your son. So we know for him that where he is, he's absolutely safe. He's absolutely loved and safe exactly where he is. And I know we can't see it, but we also know that it's the perfect and right road for him right now. Otherwise, he'd be on some other path. And so keep him in my prayers. We'll know the truth for him. I know it's very hard, probably as a mom, really hard. So the idea about this is that when is it that we can be grateful for and to somebody else? I never say, John, I'm grateful for you. I always say, or I'm grateful to you. I always say, I'm grateful for you and to you. Because of the fact what he brings. Whatever it is that he does. Just his countenance, right? It's just who he is. All of you. So when we look at this, you know, I got ahead of myself. Dennis Waitley says, happiness cannot be traveled to, I love this, traveled to, owned, earned, worn, or consumed. Happiness is the spiritual experience of living every minute with love, grace, and gratitude. How many minutes a day do you live in love, grace, and gratitude? Seriously, what would you say, and this is what Reverend Patrick calls the pivoting point, what percentage of your day do you think that you live in gratitude, that you live in that place of awe about life? Even when you're feeling junky, even when you're feeling the worst of the worst. What percentage would you say? Just yell it out. 10. 40. Who said 40? Excellent. So 70. Awesome. That was you 70? Why are you doubting yourself? I'm not doubting you. So the idea about that is this. Take a look at what your percentage is and focus on tomorrow, even the rest of today, to focus on what you like so that percentage goes up. If it's 70, if it's 100, we can go to 110. Right? It's endless. It's infinity. And keep growing that place of gratitude and watch our lives totally, completely transform. JFK, I love this. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, I love this, but to live by them. To live by them. So in this season, whatever you're doing this week, just start showing up as the big G. And yes, I mean God. I mean gratitude. Show up as gratitude opening doors. Not just for you, but everyone that you come into contact with. Watch the vibe shift. I don't care where you are or what you're doing and who you encounter, especially if it's a person you don't know. And just watch how their energy shows up, lightens up because of you. To me, that's pure living gratitude. Let's pass it on, right? Let's pass it on. Kind of got away here. I love how I do this. So, before we get to the affirmation, I would like for you to repeat after me some affirmations. And you know, Angela that sings here, these came from her Friday night, literally. Kirtan Kara plays at a yoga place once a month over on Ventura Boulevard in the Valley. And so it's one of my favorite meditation times to go. So I went Friday and I was the only person in the audience. It was so awesome because where I sat, it felt like surround sound. And it was really cool. And she did this whole gratitude meditation that was amazing. So I said, I want some of that. She's like, go ahead, I'll send it to you. Don't worry. So these are from her, which I really like. Okay, so repeat after me. I live in gratitude.
I live in gratitude.
Every day that I awaken and breathe, I am thankful.
Every day that I awaken and breathe, I am thankful.
Every day that I face the things that I am most afraid of, I am grateful.
Every day that I face the things that I am most afraid of, I am grateful.
Every day that I am given awareness of the smallest of beauties, the most unsung of treasures, I am thankful.
The most unsung of treasures, I am thankful.
Every day that I laugh or that I make someone else laugh, I am grateful.
Every day that I laugh or make someone else laugh, I am grateful.
Every day that I can have some time to myself for quiet and reflection, I am thankful. That's close, yeah. It's called meditation, it's whatever. The thing is when to me in this season, the most important thing, I'm going to give you two things that I do. One is take that time to meditate and be quiet. because it stops all this world stuff that's going around. I quit listening to the news. I have no clue what's going on except for Facebook, and I read Peter's post. And I like them, and I wish I could share them, but, sometimes I can't. And so, but I've stopped listening, and I've stopped all the notifications of stuff coming in. Because I figure if it's on Facebook, I need to know it. If it's not, I don't. Right? Right, if it's on Facebook, of course it's true. It's just like the best news magazine is People. The idea of it, though, when we look at this, it's really about taking ourselves not for granted, us. So taking that quiet time, the gap meditation, do you know, in the corporate world, I teach it. And it's 3 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes. Either way, it's just breathing to bring ourselves down, out of the chaos. And this season, especially as we kick it off, taking time every day. I think every day to, the old adage, right? Stop and smell the roses. Hug a tree, because Mother Earth will ground us better than anything else. And we certainly have gorgeous weather now that we're going back to summer again. But a week from today, we're going to be in winter, so no problem. So the other thing I want to tell you about that I learned in the Busting Loose. I don't know if I learned it or I made it up, but it was in the Busting Loose class. It talks about our expanded self. To me, it's my higher self. To me, it's my God self. To me, it's the universe, it's spirit, whatever. And what I've been doing every single day is that when I'm getting ready in the morning, me and my expanded self, we have a conversation in the mirror. Mostly my expanded self to me, and tells me authentically what's the truth about me. Not all that self-talk and all that blabber in our brains about the things we need to do, we didn't do, we should have done, we could have done. I had a terrible night's sleep. Not all the don'ts. Instead, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Remember who you are. Remember what you deserve. Remember that you are pure love. And I'm telling you, if you do it out loud in the mirror, it's amazing the results. My whole day has shifted in the last couple of weeks since I've been doing it. Well, the days I do it anyway. I know it works. And so when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm doing it, right? And when anything I'm doing, I'm constantly, even in the shower, I'm having this conversation out loud. Why? Because it gives us all our different senses, gets it. And it's amazing. And it helps me start my day with gratitude and being in that calm and centered place, knowing who I am, which is a perfect expression of God. So the affirmation, let's do it together. And now it might make a little sense of why. Reverend Stephen last night said to me, really? That's kind of long. I said, well, it takes 3 or 4 breaths. I don't think it's that long. And then I sent it to Lane, and then I wrote Lane back, and I'm like, Lane, I changed it. It's shorter. And then I looked at it, I'm like, not really. It's just different words. So, ready? Here we go together. Expressing gratitude and appreciation opens all doors in my life. The attitude of gratitude gives me much latitude. I constantly think to thank. Every day, love is evident in my life. I am thankful. You notice love is capitalized because every day that I see God in every one of you, in every person that I see, including the one in the mirror, I'm thankful. So as we go into this week, I invite you to dress up and show up and be the gratitude that people are looking for, that they need. Don't we not need it in this crazy world we live in? Absolutely. We are the steady stable. Well, at least you guys are.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. Yeah, baby.
And so it is. Okay. So I invite you to reach out We have the little slips to put whatever prayers you want and need. Put it in the box, and the practitioner corps will treat for you all week, just for you. And if you want them to call you and do it for you, put your phone number on there and we'll call you. If you want it emailed, just email it please. We'll do that as well. So please use this. It's the biggest gift I think that we can give the congregation, is to hold the truth about you, especially as we go into this season of love. So as we know right here, is I know that since God is at the helm, since God is really in every one of us, I know for a fact that the gratitude in what we see of what we want and what we reiterate in that knowing, that we are able to have more gratitude to give away. That gas tank of gratitude never goes to empty. Sometimes we forget. All we need to do is come back. And so I'm knowing that all of the healing right now that needs to be done is done. I know that every person that comes forward, whether it's here in prayer or anywhere in the world, that is asking for a prayer, we are it. And we are knowing the truth for them. Perfect health, perfect relationships, perfect abundance, and most importantly, the perfect expression of creativity. That's who we are. We are that perfect expression of God. And so it is with so much gratitude I have that my heart is full and overflowing, that I simply place my words into that law of mine, knowing it is done, knowing it is complete, and knowing that it is so. And together we affirm it by saying,